Police won't stop or capture individuals leaving the country in break of new COVID-occasioned boycott. Individuals leaving the country in break of the government's vacation boycott won't be halted or captured by police, a senior official has affirmed. Under the new COVID guidelines coming into power on Monday, individuals leaving England without a legitimate explanation could confront a £5,000 fine. Public Police Chiefs Council, NPCC, Director Martin Hewitt said officials would pass out the punishments to anybody discovered ridiculing the standards to go on vacation. In any case, he said banishing anybody from voyaging is a matter for UK border force, adding, "We are not just going to capture individuals since they are attempting to leave the country." Mr Hewitt was addressing journalists after the arrival of NPCC information showing 508 fines had been given by powers in England and 3 in Wales to individuals neglecting to self-detach subsequent to showing up from a country on the government isolate list up to March 14. He said no fines had been passed out by police for breaking guidelines around in-isolate for those entering from red nations, which came into power on February 15. He clarified requirement was principally a matter for border force and private security workers for hire. Mr Hewitt said police have expanded the quantity of officials in ports and air terminals, and are proceeding to do checks of individuals who ought to act naturally confining. He said, "Police won't naturally stop explorers, however officials will keep on examining individuals regarding the purposes behind their movement in the air terminals or the vehicle leave or different places of passage and exit." With the new enactment corresponding to travel coming into power on Monday, on the off chance that officials do find any individual who is penetrating the standards, we will give a fine where vital. Regardless of whether individuals become banished from voyaging isn't a police issue, however, that is for UK border force. The danger of fines has been stretched out until the finish of June, making unfamiliar summer occasions look progressively impossible as a third rush of COVID clears across Europe. Transport Secretary Grant Shapps is driving a taskforce that will report by April 12 on how and when the prohibition on insignificant travel can be lifted. It can be no sooner than May 17 under Boris Johnson's True Guide. The movement boycott doesn't have any significant bearing to those going to the regular travel zone of the Channel Islands, Isle of Man and the Republic of Ireland, except if that isn't the last objective. Recently Neil Ferguson, named Professor Lockdown subsequent to advising the public authority to force limitations last March, cautioned individuals could be confronting one more summer at home. Talking on News Breakfast he said, "I think while not all things will have returned to ordinary by the late spring, positively by the harvest time, it will feel significantly more typical." Meanwhile Ryanair CEO Michael O'Leary said their travelers could be compelled to wear face veils into 2022. He said, "I would envision now, we're wanting to keep on requiring compulsory face veil wearing on board our airplane through the rest of this mid-year plan and the following winter's schedule." The £5,000 fine, set out in enactment late in the Commons yesterday, is on top of the recently reported £200 fine for not rounding out a movement revelation structure on explanations behind leaving the country. The unfamiliar travel boycott doesn't make a difference to those going to the basic travel zone of the Channel Islands, Isle of Man and the Republic of Ireland, except if that isn't the last objective. Exclusions likewise apply, including created by 00 breaking news. Daily breaking and more news. Please subscribe. See you in a better world.